Hello, everybody. Monday, April 7th. I am Sara Orlesky. He is Jamie Thomas, and we are down to the final 5 games of the regular season for the Winnipeg Jets. Next 3, all divisional opponents, and it starts tonight here at Canada Life Center against the red-hot St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, no big deal. St. Louis has won only 12 in a row, so they had to, of course, outdo the Jets' 11-game win streak. So they've been playing phenomenal since the Four Nations face-off break and really pushed the pace in the wildcard situation in the Western Conference. Maybe another team the Winnipeg Jets are trying to avoid in that opening round series. Whoever it is, there's multiple options at this point as the Jets try to lock down first place. Dallas loses in overtime to Minnesota.
Yep.
Jets miss out on a chance of pushing that lead to 4 and now 3 points. Both teams play the same amount of games. Dallas will have a game in hand after tonight.
Yes, looking forward to today's show over the next 30 minutes or so. We will get you ready for tonight's game. Looking forward to having Andy Strickland join us in just a little bit. Covers the St. Louis Blues, part of their broadcast team, and then also host of the Cam and Strick podcast. So
been around forever.
Yes, so very much looking forward to hearing his perspective on the Blues and give us a little bit more insight there. But let's talk a little bit about the opportunities for the Jets and maybe a little bit of missed opportunity with this recent road trip that they're coming back from. They were 1-2 on the road, losses to LA as well as obviously Utah. The final one, a 4-1 loss. Yeah,
it's like that game on Saturday was very puzzling to me because you're okay with the way they played against Los Angeles, didn't get the result you want, and then they played a phenomenal game against the Vegas Golden Knights and shutting them out.
How'd they play?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Can I use that enough?
Apparently not.
Don't ask me to spell it, but phenomenal. They played phenomenal. And just the way, so it just looked very similar to the last time they were in Utah. There's didn't have a whole lot going on in the first period. Now they didn't have Nikolai Ehlers, obviously with we'll call it lower body injury after he was hit multiple times with pucks in the game in Vegas. So didn't have that. And then they didn't have much offense. So then, of course, Scott Arniel had to tinker with his lines a little bit. Cole Perfetti moved up the top line with Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele. That line looked pretty good for the most part with the line juggling, the line blender that Scott Arniel went with, but they lose 4-1 and just kind of miss out on that chance to put a little more space between themselves and Dallas. Dallas is kind of a funk for them, but you just don't, as Scott Arniel said, you have to take care of your business, and they certainly did not do that on Saturday in Utah.
No, but they have been good at responding, so that's what we will look to see how they come out tonight. Do they come out quickly? Are they able to establish their game? And we'll hear from the players and go into the room momentarily. It's great to see so many of you in the chat already, whether you're watching on X, Twitter, or X and Twitter are the same thing, X, Facebook, and YouTube. Love to see so many of you in the conversation already and from a number of different places as well. Some of you are going to the game in Chicago. Great to see. Yes. Remember that with tonight's game, there are only 3 home games left in the regular season. So tonight you have the game next Sunday against Edmonton, and then they close out the regular season schedule against Anaheim. But love to see so many of you already here. Don't forget to smash that like button, the heart, thumbs up, whatever it might be. Yeah. At this point, you would think in Game 78 that we would know, but we'll continue on.
Of course, Scarlett having to look at that. Scarlett's showing off. She's watching the game from Portugal. So
nicely done.
Comment. Yeah.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. Let's take a look at what the projected lines are supposed to be today, because I know there's a lot of intrigue for it. So great news. Again, these are just projected for it. Right. So we saw Nikolai Ehlers out there, was taking part in line rushes this morning skate.
Normal color jersey.
Yep.
So no non-contact.
So, but game time decision. They're going to see how he feels before making the decision whether or not he is good to go. If you look on the blue line on that third pairing, Stanley and Fleury, there is no Colin Miller that is out there. He is under the weather.
Right.
I guess you could say game time decision, but not really. I don't think anyone's expecting Colin to be able to go tonight. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully he'll be feeling better soon. And Connor Hellebuck is going to be in net.
No surprise in that aspect. So during morning skate, Hayden Fleury was quarterbacking the second power play unit. So you have no Pionk, you have no Miller. So Hayden Fleury may be a possible opportunity in that one. Adam Lowry also on the second power play unit on top of that as well.
Well, and let's give a few more updates because there are many players sidelined right now. So Gabriel Velarde is around the team.
Yes.
So he's still not skating.
Not like a good sign, but not close yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But is around the team. So we'll take any positive movement when it comes to that. So that would be great. Neil Pionk continuing to be out on the ice. He participated in the morning skate today, but is one of the extras, still not ready to return.
Getting closer.
Yes, which is great.
So it's a fitness thing too with Neil, right? So
Rasmus Kapari was out for a conditioning skate for the first time this morning before morning skate got underway. So there are your updates when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets.
I'm sure we'll be asking about that a little bit later, but there's we can rewind this part of the show if we want to get into it. So there's a lot of updates in that aspect, but good news with regards to Neil Pionk, and the fact that Gabe Vilardi has been around the team, also a good sign for him.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that they're the Red Hot Blues, that they've won 12 in a row. No surprise that was a big conversation when it came to the media availabilities today with the players and with head coach Scott Arniel.
Coming in that's reeled off a dozen, that I guess gets everybody's attention, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you don't go on streaks like that without all parts of your game clicking, and it's a tough thing to do in the NHL, is go on streaks. So clearly they're playing great, probably feeling a lot of confidence. So for us, it's a great test. Obviously, we got 5 to go here, and try and continue to push for first place. So it's a big opportunity for us to play a big, meaningful game tonight.
I think that they're still trying to find their way prior to the Four Nations, and ever since then they've really found their game, and their best players are their best players. Their role players have really bought into what they need to do, and they're feeling it right now. And we know what it's like when you get on those roles like that. You feel good about coming to the rink and playing games, and that's what they're doing. So we're really hoping to wreck their party tonight.
Therein lies it right there. Wreck the party tonight.
Yeah, you look at the records since the Four Nations break coming out of it, and that was the first game back for the Jets coming out of the break was against St. Louis. The road team has won each of the 3 games so far. Winnipeg leading the season series 2-1 up to this point. But the record since coming out of the Four Nations break, St. Louis with the best in the league, 18-2-2.
Okay.
They've been averaging 3.91 goals a game, tops in the league as well. Goals against 2.23, that's 5th. Second best record since Four Nations break, Dallas, 15-4-3 as well. St. Louis can clinch a playoff spot tonight with a win in regulation and the Flames losing to San Jose in regulation as well. But St. Louis said to deal with some injuries as well. No Colton Parayko, Dylan Holloway was injured last week as well. Both of those players week to week, and we'll get more from Andy in just a little bit, updating us on the where things stand with the Blues.
With the projected lineup for St. Louis, it looks like Joel Hofer will get the start. Of course, the Winnipeg kid, 2-1-1 with a .931 save percentage in his game, all in 4 games against his hometown team. So I thought it was going to be the matchup between the 2 goaltenders that faced one another. Four Nations face-off, and Jordan Binnington and Connor Hellebuck. I started writing my preview, and then I said,
"Oh, that's the worst feeling."
I think you're onto something.
Yeah,
the low-hanging fruit is right there.
Yeah,
taken away. But Joel Hofer's been played very well against and he's had a great start to his NHL career with the St. Louis Blues.
And let's be honest, Connor Hellebuck, throughout his career, has played very well against St. Louis. The only teams he has more wins against in the league, Chicago and Nashville. So So Connor Hellebuck, 16-6-2 against the Blues lifetime.
And something we shouldn't undersell in this one at all.
Yes.
2 brothers.
I don't know if you've thought about it. Don't know if you've heard about it.
Also low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But, so Braden Schenn and Luke Schenn have both played their 1,000th game this year. They're playing against each other again tonight.
Yeah. They played with each other in Philly.
Yeah. Never played against each other in the playoffs. So there's that possibility, but they've had a lot of that. So here's Luke Schenn on facing his brother again.
These years that you and Braden have been going head-to-head, inquiring minds want to know who's leading the Schenn showdown going into this one.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I've been on some teams and had some tough years, and he's had some good years. And St. Louis, for the most part, has been a pretty successful franchise. So I'm not sure head-to-head, but it's always fun for obviously both of us. We don't take these opportunities for granted. Obviously, we're both obviously. In the latter stages of our careers, and you don't take anything for granted. It's special for us to get the opportunity to do this. It's special for friends and family who've been supportive and followed us throughout our careers. So yeah, it's in a sense not just another game, just because obviously, Braden and I are fortunate enough to get to do this, and they're always special when we get the chance to go at it.
Luke also told a story about Braden had come back from a rib injury. They said he made a mistake. They went to the corner and gave him a pretty good shot right above the pants. Hurt him.
Mom?
So he's waiting for Braden after the game, and then he's like waiting. He didn't come out because they were leaving for Calgary. So back-to-back situation. And Luke said that Braden had come out and he found out that they were helping him along, the Blues medical staff. And then he said Dad talked to him afterwards and said, "What were you thinking?" And Luke said that he said, "I wasn't." So it's very interesting because, you would think you would hear, okay, when the puck drops, it doesn't matter. But that's not at all what Luke was saying. Like, he's my brother.
Right.
So you still are aware, and maybe, I don't know what to say, if he backs off a little bit, but it's still that's in the back of your mind before you're running through the boards.
I think a very tight-knit family as well.
Yes.
Delightful family with both Braden and Luke. We've talked extensively about what Luke has meant team, and same thing, we wondered whether or not Braden and Schenn would still be a part of the St. Louis Blues. Up until a couple of days before the trade deadline, there was still the discussion within the St. Louis Blues ranks about how they were going to approach the trade deadline. Right. Would they be selling off? They made the decision to keep their players, including the captain, Braden, and now you look at the run that they've been on. So Doug Armstrong certainly has been rewarded for the patience that he showed.
Well, you can understand. Well, another thing that was brought up today, of course, is remember back in 2019, St. Louis was terrible. They made a coaching change.
Right.
Craig Berube. They went on to win the Stanley Cup. So, of course, that's brought up today a lot, too. They're getting that same feeling, coaching change, trade deadline goes by, and then all of a sudden you get on this, they're on a big tear right now. So, Josh Morris is like, there's going to be 15 other teams trying to make sure that doesn't happen again for St. Louis, starting with them.
Yeah, absolutely. What an opportunity for the Jets. So they play just this one game here at home before heading out onto the road for a game in Dallas. I mean, goes without saying, if you want to pop up the standings really quickly, it goes without saying how significant that game is going to be on Thursday against the Stars, with just 3 points separating the teams right now. Dallas wasn't able to gain as much ground as they wanted to. The Jets.
Thank you, Minnesota.
That's right. Yep. The Jets, with their 1-2 record on this recent road trip, weren't able to put the separation between themselves and the Stars. So a lot of intrigue still to go. And you look at that wild card race as well. Obviously, just 2 points up St. Louis is on the Minnesota Wild. So still a lot to be figured out in these final days. So there's a lot on the line for both these teams. It's rare to see a team be able to extend to 13 games in a row in terms of a win. But that's certainly something that the Blues are going to try to do tonight, standing in their way. Connor Hellebuck and the Winnipeg Jets, and Cole Perfetti, who I caught up with just a short while ago. His return home for one game at least, but taking on the St. Louis Blues here tonight. This team has been so good at being able to bounce back when adversity is hit, or if you haven't been particularly happy with the game this season. Why has your team been so good at that?
I'm not too sure. I think we just have a resilient group. I think we all believe in what we're capable of, and we know what we can do as a team, and when we're on our best. And obviously, you're not going to have it every single night. And but the ability to bounce back with a good effort and come together, and I think we've done that all year. I mean, a couple times here and there we haven't had our best performance, but then we've rallied around that and kind of got back to our core principles and to our mindset that's been helping us all year, and we've had success.
How do you look at this game tonight against St. Louis, who obviously comes in as the hottest team right now in terms of their record, having won 12 straight?
Yeah, they're obviously playing really well and playing some good hockey, and they're fighting for that wild card playoff spot kind of thing, and they've been playing fantastic. They've been getting contributions from up and down the lineup, and their goaltending's been good. But we're familiar with their game. We've obviously played them a bunch, and we've had some success against them earlier in the year. So just trying to not really worry about what they're doing, worry about ourselves, and we take care of our effort and our mindset and how we play, and the results should come.
We always talk about details with this team, and it's a word that we hear often for it. So when you're thinking of the details and you're going up against the Blues from an offensive standpoint, maybe, what is it that you guys need to be aware of to have success?
Yeah, they're a good transition team. They got a lot of speed and a lot of skill. They make a lot of plays off the rush, and even in the O-zone. So I think for us, it's managing the puck, not feeding into their transition. Just playing smart. Obviously, when the play, it's time to make the play. But managing it at the blue line and making them defend in their zone, and then they'll get frustrated, and then we'll be able to get to our game.
We look at the success that you personally have had with your game, recent stretches. For it, is there an element of your game right now that you are happiest with?
I think. Again, you said details. I think that is just the thing that I'm focusing on the most in all three zones, just worrying about the little things, doing everything right with the same intent. Whether it's a back check or a forecheck or a loose puck in the neutral zone, having the same intent and effort and mindset going into every little battle and everything I do. I think that's just kind of where I've focused on, and it's been good so far.
It sure has. Thanks so much for the time. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Cole Perfetti, great interview. So they're asked if there's any merch for sale today. And I don't think we could wear this. So
you could have tried.
Dress up your barbecue in style with this exclusive premium grill cover. This commercial grade cover is available at any of our Jet Skier booths located through the concourse. That's the new premium barbecue grill cover, Jet Skier, the official team store of the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes.
Durable. It's very durable. It's got some holes in it, so it's not going to blow away when the wind blows.
I've had that before. Have you ever had to go chasing after?
100 times.
Yeah, me too.
Air vents to prevent wind lofting and mildew buildup, and hanging loops for storage in your garage.
There you go. What more could you ask for? Get yourself. We're going to be very shortly in barbecue, true barbecue weather.
Jets poncho. Well played, man. Just
See?
cut a hole.
I told you could have done something with it. Draped it over yourself, something like that. A blanket. It was so cold in the rink this morning. I don't think Reese would appreciate
me just cutting a hole.
Probably not. Maybe as a...
But it's not going to blow away.
For it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have just worn it as a blanket. It was very cold in the arena this morning. So
my nose is still red.
For those of you that have joined us late, thanks so much as always for checking in with us. Let's take a quick look back at what the lines are going to be and update you or what we are anticipating the lines to be based on the morning skate. You'll see that Nikolai Ehlers took part in morning skate. He is a game time decision, though. They're going to see how he responds to the skate today, how he feels when he comes back. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Colin Miller is out with the flu right now, so that third pairing is Logan Stanley and Hayden Fleury. Connor Hellebuck is in net. Neil Pionk getting closer.
Right.
Still not quite back yet. Gabe Vilardi is around, so we will take that as a step.
He's around.
He's around.
Yeah.
So that is, though, a step in the right direction. So we will take any steps when it comes to that. Rasmus Kupari was out before the morning skate doing a conditioning skate, so another good sign for him as well.
Yeah, Andy Strickland's going to be joining us here momentarily to talk about the St. Louis Blues, who have won 12 in a row. But before we kind of move on to that, we've been talking about this for a very long time. Finally happened on Saturday. Alex Ovechkin, the NHL goal scoring champion. What a shot. Only goal, but this was a great one that you sent to me yesterday. Mike Kelly was great with the NHL Network, of course, and, of course, TSN. April 6, 2004, Capitals win the draft lottery and the right to draft Alex Ovechkin first overall. April 6, 2025, Ovechkin scores his 895th goal to break Gretzky's all-time goals record. Ovi, 1,487 games. Gretzky, 1,487 games, but Ovi has the 895 in front of that. It was a cool moment.
It absolutely was. It was. I know that, the atmosphere looked amazing.
Yeah.
Islanders fans, yes. Islanders fans, certainly, I think tons of Capitals fans there. But when you have that opportunity to potentially see history, I think everyone appreciative of what he's been able to do and recognizing it, looked like an absolutely tremendous atmosphere in that building. There is that part of me that still wishes that he'd been able to accomplish it at home, but just a tremendous job, especially when you think of the age that he's at, the injuries he had to deal with earlier this year, the games that he's missed, but also just it was a number of years ago now that he had fallen he'd fallen back. People thought that maybe we were seeing
last year, there's no way he was going to break.
That we were seeing the decline of him. And there's been so many, we saw the Mike Kelly tweet, but there's been so many interesting, little bits about when Wayne Gretzky, the date that Wayne Gretzky passed Gordie Howe now, and everything is around that April 6th mark. And it's truly incredible when you see it. And Elliot Friedman, whether it be on 32 Thoughts or various posts that he's had on social media, have been tremendous when talking about just different elements of the streak that he had been on.
And Sean Reynolds gets to come home.
There you go. We're looking forward to having him back.
Yeah, we'll have him back. We'll have him on the show, talk about the experience for him. But congratulations, Alexander Ovechkin. It is great for the game. And I've heard Wayne Gretzky talk about this a lot over the years. It's just great when people break records, right? It's good for the game, especially when it comes to his. So Andy Strickland knows a little bit about record breaking, and he has been around this game for a very long time. And he joins us now from his rental car. Did they give you the right car this time?
I'm actually back in St. Louis, man. I'm not on this trip. We're not doing the next game. So I just got done, which is in Edmonton. That's a national game. So I just got done recording a podcast and ready to rock and roll with you guys. So thanks for having me. It looks cold there. I can't even see the outside, and I already know that it's cold there in Winnipeg.
Is it because my lips look purple? Because that's the way that's what it feels. I can't feel my feet right now either. Yeah. Andy, looking forward to the next podcast that drops. The podcast that you guys have, which is fantastic. Cam and Strick podcast. So if people haven't had the chance to listen to it, do, because it's not as if it is just a blues podcast. Certainly it's one of the most entertaining ones in terms of some of the guests and the stories that you tell. But the reason, Andy, that we want to talk to you is about the Blues. Please explain to me what it is over this streak in particular, since coming out of the Four Nations break, that has stood out to you most. How have the Blues been able to do what they've done?
Listen, it's been amazing. You got to look at their play defensively. They're up there among the league leaders in shots against since the Four Nations. They've got a ton of experience on the back end. The addition of Cam Fowler has been one of the most underrated, trades this organization has made in quite some time when you look at what he's done and how he's impacted the team. So, he's played over 1,000 games. You got Letty, who's played over 1,000 games. You have Falk, who's approaching 1,000 games. Ryan Suter, who's played over 1,500 games. They got a ton of experience, and they're doing all of this without Colton Parayko, who hasn't been available because of injury during this 12-game winning streak. They're getting great production up top from a number of key players, most notably Robert Thomas, who's playing some of his best hockey of his career. He's going to be on Canada's roster. I fully believe in the Olympics next year. So all you Canadians out there, watch Robert Thomas tonight. This guy is playing some great hockey. And Dylan Holloway going down obviously really hurts this team, because prior to his injury, you had two offensive lines up top that were both going at the same time, which is something they hadn't had earlier in the year. He had developed amazing chemistry with Jordan Kyrou. They elevated him up from the third line to the second line, and those two just really took off with Braden Schenn as their center. So now you've got Snuggerud, signing after his college career. You've got Dalibor Dvorsky, who was a former 10th overall pick, who just got called back up. Snuggerud obviously being a former first rounder as well. So, they're plugging in some of these young kids, and we'll see what that looks like as we move forward and get closer and closer to the playoffs.
And I think, sure you've seen a lot of this as the season has wore along. A lot of grumbling coming out of Edmonton about the players that the Blues snatched up in the offseason, and Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. Did you ever in a million years think they would have the impact that they've had this season for the Blues?
No, but I always joke around that, like, all of Canada, they hate St. Louis right now. Edmonton hates St. Louis. Calgary and Vancouver, they hate St. Louis, because they pretty much boxed them out of making the playoffs. And Montreal came here a few days ago. They lost 6-1. They got pummeled here in St. Louis. So Winnipeg, man, you're our only hope. Don't hate St. Louis. Although you never know, if you have a first round matchup, then it very well could lead to that.
Oh boy.
Oof.
Oh my God. So
big boy hockey.
Yes.
So but the additions of Broberg and Holloway, nobody saw this coming. You get these guys for a second round pick or a third round pick. Like, you got to be kidding me that they would even let these guys go. Like, the only way you get your hands on a Philip Broberg, for example, and you'll see how well he skates, when you watch him play tonight. This guy is a great skater. He's got great offensive instincts, has a great stick defensively. He can defend against the other team's best players. Since Parayko has gone down with his injury, he's averaging like 2 more minutes per game of ice time. Mm-hmm. And he's getting those matchups, the hard matchups against the other team's top guys. So he's been unreal, man. The only way you get these guys, like I said, is by drafting them. Mm-hmm. Like, I just don't know how you just let them go. I'll never understand it, because you think it's painful now for Edmonton. Wait till these guys are 27, 26, 28, established NHL pros who are obviously going to have a body of work behind them. They're really, really good. Holloway's been unbelievable. He's a 60-point player. You know, you hope to get him back come playoff time. So we'll see how that plays out. He's got a pretty significant injury that he's dealing with. So they're going to want to get him back, but I would imagine he's a quick healer, and hopefully they can, because he's a huge part of this team. You know, he's kind of been that one-time option on the power play too. He scored a bunch of goals, you know, in that flanker spot with his ability to one-time the puck. He scores fast break goals with his speed. I mean, I always say if he and Kyrou were to race, Kyrou may, and they started at the goal line, Kyrou may beat him to the first blue line, and then Holloway may beat him to the red line. You know what I mean? Like, Holloway's just got some great speed too. It's Kyrou's first 3 steps, which makes him so explosive, and he can get up to a high-end speed as well. But he's really going to miss not having Holloway. I mean, these two guys, the chemistry they've established with one another was unreal. And Kyrou didn't look like the same guy a few games ago against Colorado, not having him on his line. Neighbors look good. He's kind of the guy filling in right now on that second line with Braden Schenn. So we'll see how that plays out moving forward. But yeah, to get your hands on 2 guys drafted recently in the first round at 22 and 23 years of age for a second and third round pick is just, it sounds too good to be true, and it probably is. Although I guess it's not, because it's reality here in St. Louis.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what we see with offer sheets going forward as well. I mean, with we certainly don't see a lot of them typically, but then also if the cap continues to go up, will we see many more offer sheets going forward? Because maybe you won't have the same sort of cap issues that some teams have found themselves in. So certainly that one was a standout, though, when you think about offer sheets over the years. Andy, back to quickly this game here tonight. Is there something that you'll be watching for with the Blues, or that you could tell our viewers that they should be keeping an eye on early on when it comes to this team?
Well, Jimmy Snuggerud, listen, he's getting his 3rd game in a row, and, you know, he was a big star for Team USA in the World Juniors, and, you know, you look at his, you know, college career, and, you know, playing with Matthew Nyes his freshman season, and Logan Cooley, and all these players who have gone on to have success, Brock Faber. I mean, they were just loaded at the University of Minnesota. So, you know, he's been raised in the game the last couple of years around some really good players. His dad played in the NHL. And, you know, he's still looking for his first NHL goal, and this guy can really shoot the puck. He probably has, you know, arguably the best release on the Blues right now. I mean, he can really let it go. Hasn't had a whole lot of chances yet. So we'll see if tonight, if that presents itself, and he can, you know, get his first goal. Has a couple of real nice assists, both primary assists, and, you know, one in each of the last 2 games, where he's really created the play that led to the goal, not just from the pass, but, you know, making a strong defensive play that led to a rush attack on Neighbors' goal on a 2-on-1 a few games ago. Made a nice play inside his own end, then got it back in the neutral zone, and then made the pass for the goal. But last game against Colorado, you know, he lifts the stick at Nathan McKinnon, wins the battle against Devon Taves. You know, 2 really good players, obviously, you know, so he's got some confidence, you know, playing with Thomas and Buchnevich. So we'll see what that looks like. Joel Hofer's going to be in between the pipes tonight. So you're not going to see Jordan Binnington. So you'll see the local boy. He's, you know, tends to play well against Winnipeg. But just watch how the Blues play defensively, just how sound they are. They hardly give up any odd man rushes. You hardly ever see them give up a breakaway. I can think of one over the course of this 12-game streak. So that's why they're not giving up a whole lot of shots against. Their structure under Jim Montgomery has been exceptional.
Well, my friend, that was some good stuff. Glad you accepted the vehicle that Sarah and I paid you with to come on the show today. It looks nice.
Hey, what day of the week does the Cam and Strick podcast drop?
It'll come out tomorrow.
Okay.
Every Tuesday.
Awesome.
We used to do it 2 days a week, but that's kind of hard to do. We did that during COVID. Yeah, but every Tuesday, man, you could find the next edition of the Cam and Strick podcast. So I appreciate the shout out.
Hey, always appreciate the time. And like I said, it's a very entertaining podcast to listen to, and always love the stories and the guests that you guys have on. So thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us today, Andy.
Sarah and Jamie, thank you very much. I enjoyed it. Enjoy the game tonight.
You too. Take care.
That was great.
They do have some great Yes, and
those are 2 great personalities, though.
That's exactly. I'm all about the entertainment value.
I don't need so much information. I just need to be entertained. because
feel like that would be you back in school days or what?
Yes,
I don't need information.
like, what is this? What are you teaching me here?
Just make me laugh.
When am I ever going to use this in my real life? Seriously.
The quadratic formula.
Yeah.
Tell me one time that you have walked through a store and thought to yourself,
Why
the
do I need to know
quadratic
what water
formula.
is made of? Why do I need to know hydrogen? Why? What is this? How is this going to help me? Never.
Oh, I hope your kids aren't watching this.
Well, okay. So you have those, you have those exact same speeches with your kids that your parents say to you. This all matters. And you're like, why? And your parents don't really have a good reason.
Well, it's true,
so.
but I don't say about the quadratic formula. I don't know if they still teach it, but I regularly throw out I've never once used the quadratic formula. That's why I went into sports.
You know, when they have, I'm just trying to think of one of the math subjects. Anyways, when it would come to me, I applied for a job and all of a sudden this pops up. And I'm like, oh, I knew I should have paid attention in class for this stuff. And anyways, terrible story because I'm not even telling you the right thing. So we're just going to keep going here. Winnipeg Sports Talk. It'll come to me after the show's over.
Oh, I mean, you guys don't want to miss. You do not want to miss the next check-in.
Thursday.
Because here's hoping we can circle back to this.
There was something about formulas. Anyways, it'll come to me later. That was a terrible story. I just stepped off the stage on top of my nose running the whole show. That's like I'm in top form today. So yeah.
Well, it's a Monday. Don't forget, I saw some people post in the comments. Do not forget tonight's game is an Amazon game as well. It is a 6:30 local start.
Yeah.
But again, it is, with it being Monday, it is an Amazon Prime game. So make sure that you check that out. Shane Knighty is right. John Forsland is in, Thomas Hickey, but Shane Knighty on the call as well. So we always love.
Wasn't Shane just working last night too? Like he's everywhere.
Yeah, it's Shane. It's nice. He's all over the place. Yeah. It's a great broadcaster. Thanks so much, everybody, for checking in. Don't forget, head on over to Winnipeg Sports Talk. Get more Winnipeg Jets talk. Yeah. And we will see you on Thursday when we take a look back at this game. But obviously, there'll be a lot to talk about between now and then, with the playoff standings being what they are. And we are in for a doozy that game. But tonight, we want to get 2 points, get back in the win column.
Just always answer the bell. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Going to happen again tonight.
All right. Looking forward to it. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everyone. Thanks so much for taking some time to check in.